Eeveelution Squad has been out since 2016. Yes, it's that old. About a month ago, it celebrated its 10th anniversary, and I'm here right now, so I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to be summarizing it today. And yes, this is the first time you're hearing my voice, so hope you enjoy it. Chapter 0 is where we start, and it's basically just an Eevee hatching out of his egg with no one left. Damn. Kind of reminds me of my childhood. Anyways, chapter 1. So years have been passed by, and Jolteon, Vaporeon, and Flareon walk by going for a walk. And then suddenly a Vaporeon sees a tree and decides to go look for it, and finds an egg. Anyways, they go check out the egg, and Jolteon decides to touch the egg, and it breaks, which is, I don't know what he's doing. It hatches into an Eevee, and decides to call Jolteon its daddy since the first one she saw. And they decide to take care of him. A few years later, we see Jolteon talk to Vaporeon and how they need to go somewhere, and Vaporeon says give her a few minutes. So Jolteon goes outside and apparently gets run over by a Glaceon from nowhere, and comes back to the house all bleeding. I don't know what's going on. And then they get to the house. Eevee's already there, about to greet her daddy. This is where we meet the other evolutions like Espeon, Umbreon, Sylveon, and Leafeon. Leafeon is worried about her sister, which turns out to be Glaceon. Jolteon and Glaceon have met each other before, so when Jolteon calls her nasty girl, Glaceon punches him. After that, Eevee wants to play with Jolteon, but Jolteon refuses. Outside, he calls Glaceon nasty, so you know what's gonna happen. And Sylveon throws a ball at Leafeon. Leafeon misses, and the ball hits Glaceon, and Espeon arranges a sleepover, but Umbreon says not to mix genders, so Glaceon decides to wake Jolteon up to apologize, but Jolteon doesn't really care, so Glaceon gets mad and decides to harass him, but Leafeon comes just in time to save him. Jolteon decides to walk around the house and sees Flareon sleeping, and Umbreon, 1738. Chapter 2 now begins, and Espeon goes to tell Eevee to wake Jolteon up, and Vaporeon, being the nice sister she is, wakes him up for her. Jolteon wakes up, and Espeon is jealous that Sylveon and Umbreon are out together. She is not okay. Espeon gives Jolteon a task, and Jolteon leaves Eevee behind, making her sad and lonely. Leafeon and Flareon come, and Leafeon decides to give Eevee a bow tie. And comes back, and Eevee shows him her bow tie. Jolteon and Eevee decides to check up on Glaceon, and she's apparently been sleeping. Glaceon wakes up, freaks out, and punches Jolteon for absolutely no reason. She wonders why Jolteon came into her room. So they leave. Eevee is now alone again. Sylveon and Umbreon come back, and Espeon asks Sylveon to watch over Eevee, and oh no. Eevee exposes Jolteon as her daddy, and Sylveon for no reason wants to teach Eevee her moveset, which is crazy. Sylveon tries to teach Eevee Attract and tries to use Umbreon, but Espeon had other plans. I feel bad for Umbreon. Find a new target, and apparently Eevee used Attract correctly. And now Sylveon's going to teach her Covet. They finish up for the day and find Glaceon, so Jolteon must be nearby, and they find him as well. Sylveon encourages Eevee to go to Jolteon since he already used Attract on Flareon, since he's the only boy apart from them two. Eevee gets nervous, and I might commit murder. 1738. See Glaceon on the front cover, and a month later Leafeon tries to wake Glaceon up, but as soon as she mentions Jolteon, Glaceon gets up right away. Apparently Glaceon likes Jolteon and got caught lacking. Leafeon leaves, and Sylveon enters in and asks Glaceon if he likes Jolteon. How obvious can you be? Apparently Jolteon's right there, so Sylveon goes asks him if Glaceon likes him. So Jolteon obviously is simple, man. Glaceon gets embarrassed and asks Sylveon not to tell anyone. Well, that lost is quick. Glaceon sees Eevee and asks her to tell him more about her daddy, since everyone knows now because of Sylveon. And he wonders how everyone knows that he's Eevee's daddy. But before he can get the answer, Sylveon and Vaporeon take them to the warehouse. They make up lies saying that there was a ghost, and once Jolteon and Glaceon go in, they get locked out. Jolteon is frustrated, but Glaceon basically confesses that she loves him. Jolteon doesn't get that she's confessing and instead thinks she's cute, but he snaps out of it real quick. I swear if they get married, just ask questions until Jolteon decides to call Glaceon nasty again. But she doesn't hit him this time. And when Glaceon asks about Leafeon, we find out Jolteon has a crush, and that's obviously what Glaceon thinks as well. except she's simple, man. They end up finding a window, but Glaceon falls outside of it, and they land on top of each other, and this gets a bit awkward. Leafeon and Flora come in, and yeah. 1738. I'm like, hey, what's up? The 4 has Sylveon on the cover, and it starts 2 months later. She's looking for something, but she trips, and she sneezes and trips. And when Jolteon's about to catch her, Umbreon decides to kick him and catches her instead. And then Jolteon lands on top of Espeon, and Espeon, I don't even know what she's trying to do. Oh, that makes sense. Later, Glaceon asks Vaporeon where Jolteon is, because he promised her to take her to the bookstore, but once Glaceon sees Jolteon and Sylveon together, she gets mad and punches Jolteon out, because he forgot. Then they decide to go together. Once they're on the walk, Jolteon asks Glaceon why she acted that way, but once Sylveon talks, she uses Ice Beam to stop her from talking, and Jolteon gets fed up. They arrive, they are torn between going to the doll shop and the bookstore. They decide to go to the doll shop first, and to apologize, Jolteon gives Glaceon some flowers, but she doesn't want them, so she gives them to Sylveon instead. But she wants a doll of herself instead. So when Jolteon gets it for her, Sylveon decides to call her big brother, and he's okay with that, but wonders why Chris never called him that. Who is Chris? But once Sylveon calls him big brother multiple times, he finally crashes out because it's too much for him. Later, they go to Umbreon and Sylveon's favorite place to eat, and Sylvia goes, but Luxray walks in, who seems to be a friend of Jolteon, and decides to leave them alone. And the Absol walks in, who seems to be a friend of Glaceon. These two suddenly have beef, and when Sylveon comes back in, makes it worse. Suddenly a Hydreigon walks in, which appears to be Sylveon's friend, and then these three have beef for no reason. The owner's worried that the place could get destroyed, and since Sylveon loves this place, she decides to become a menace and throw all of them out the place. After all that, we encounter another Umbreon who seems to he stalks ghosts, and later we find out that Jolteon is actually a fallen champion, and that his name is Guy, and that he's Sylveon's older brother. That night we see Umbreon in Sylveon's room, and apparently he likes her, but she kicks him out the room, and then she gets jump scared by a Gengar. I guess they were lying when they said there was a ghost. Sylveon finds Jolteon, and Leafeon comes over, and they all get jump scared. Jolteon tries to confess to Leafeon, but it turns out to be Sylveon instead.